Well, welcome to another chat. I want to do a couple talks on what I'm going to call the double binds of recovery. And what a double bind is when part of you believes you should act a certain way, and another part of you believes you should act in the exact opposite way. And so if you act in the one way, then you feel from this side that you failed. And if you act in the other way, then you feel from the other side that you failed. And so you're caught, you're trapped. You don't know how to resolve that. And people from complex trauma live with this all the time. And I'm going to look at 20 different double binds that people from complex trauma find themselves confronting once they get into recovery. So just the first one, and we've talked about this before, and it's the double bind of being authentic or wearing masks. So if you think of, again, a child coming into the world where they have very good instincts to love, to trust, to connect, to be authentic, all the instincts to create a healthy life. And so a child comes in with this commitment to be authentic. But in a complex trauma family, being authentic results in being rejected. It results in being criticized. It results in pain. So this very good instinct leads to bad consequences. It leads to very painful things. So the child has to adapt because they want to connect. They need their needs met. They need to stay safe. And being authentic is resulting in not being safe and not getting their needs met. And so they adapt. They wear masks. They become what other people want them to be. And that seems to work. That seems to be a good adaptation. That seems to enable them to survive until 20, 30 years later when they are in an intimate relationship, have their own children, and all of a sudden this lack of authenticity, this wearing of masks, which has worked so well for them, no longer works. It's causing problems in their relationships. It's preventing connection. It's hurting the children. It's hurting the partner. It's hurting the people you love. And you begin to realize that what I thought was a good adaptation, which let me survive, is really a bad adaptation. But now you face the double bind. If I'm going to get healthy and have good relationships, I need to be authentic. But as soon as you go to be authentic, all of a sudden there's a panic inside which says you're going to get rejected. People are going to see the real you. People are going to criticize you and not want to connect with you. And so all of a sudden, am I authentic or do I keep wearing masks? Both have served me. Both seem good. And if I go to wear masks, then I have trouble. If I'm authentic, then I have all kinds of inner voices that say, no one's going to accept you. People are going to see the real you and reject you and not like you. And so that's the double bind. And many people in recovery from complex trauma, the authenticity, wearing masks, double bind is a huge issue. And so just what helps for many people with that is begin to be authentic in little doses with safe people. So express your preference about something. That's it. Or one little fact about you that you haven't shared before. That's not too glaring. It's not going to scare people off too much. But just start sharing little things that begin to reveal the real you and build on that. And as you get a group of safe people, you can just keep developing into becoming more and more authentic and learning that, wow, this leads to connection. This leads to all of the good things that I've always wanted. But it is a powerful double bind. And so what I want you to see is that for people in recovery, this whole double bind thing is two parts of them. That old protective, I got to keep you safe part, competing with the new part that wants to get healthy and learn new tools. And one's in your limbic brain, one's in your cortex, and they are at war. They do not agree. Both are trying to protect you. Both are wanting you to be safe and healthy. And so part of recovery is learning how to go to that old protective part and work with it and say, we don't have to use the old tools of wearing masks anymore, because that was all because of people in our lives who weren't safe. We now have safe people. Let's try these new tools and do it gradually and slowly and just see if this is really going to keep me safe, keep me healthy, and enable me to have the things that I've always longed for in relationships. The next one is the visibility double bind. And so this is the person who says, I want to be seen, but I don't want to be seen. And so the history around that is part of what many children had to do in complex trauma was try to be invisible. If they were visible, then people hurt them. People rejected them. People abused them. They got neglected. They got told they were selfish. They got told that they were too needy. They got told that they were too much. And so they became invisible. That was their way to try to stay safe. That was their way to try to not be a burden to anybody so that people would like them. People would think they were a good kid. And so they got really good at making themselves small, becoming invisible, suppressing their needs, making life about other people. But they get to a point where in adult life where they go, but I want to be seen. I matter. I have needs. I need to express those needs. I have opinions. I need to express those opinions. I have emotions. I need to express those emotions. But as soon as they go to do that, they go, uh-oh, if I make myself visible, people might start expecting things from me. If I make myself visible, people might start criticizing me. If I start making myself visible, people might see me and reject me and abandon me. So I hate being invisible anymore. I want to be visible, but this being visible scares me. And so there's this double bind that they face all the time. So again, just some very practical things that might help you with that. And it's what we would call gradual titration. And it's basically letting yourself be seen gradually, a little bit at a time. And you're doing it in a way with safe people. And you're doing it in a way where you still are feeling that you can set boundaries. You can say, no, I don't want to go there. I don't want to be seen there. You're not hard on yourself that you're at times kind of pulling back a little bit because you need to feel safe again. You're just saying, no, this is going to take a while. This is going to be a gradual process, and I'm going to allow that to happen. But healthy relationships require two people who are visible, who see themselves as equal, who respect each other, whose one needs matter just as much as the other, whose one's opinions matter just as much as the other. And so to have a healthy relationship, you have to gradually become visible. But that is scary and creates the double bind. The third one is the connection safety double bind. So again, it's I want to connect, but then you think of your history. Every time you tried to connect as a child, you got hurt. Mom and dad were too busy. Mom and dad were angry. Mom and dad were stressed out. Mom and dad saw you as a bother, as selfish. And mom and dad criticized you. And so all your attempts to connect led to pain. And then when you try to connect to talk about a really important topic, they criticized you, judged you, told you not to talk about it. And so connection just failed. Or if you connected, all of a sudden, then they tried to control you, manipulate you. So connection wasn't to show love. Connection was to manipulate. So connection was a bad thing. Connection always led to pain. And so you went to try and find kind of superficial types of connection that gave some of the feelings, but you found, yeah, it was kind of nice, but it wasn't satisfying. And so now in your adult relationships, you're finding without connection, you get attracted to other people. Your partner gets upset with you that you're not emotionally available. Your relationship doesn't experience true intimacy. And so you go, I want to connect. But then as soon as you go to connect, fear takes over and go, oh, I'm not going to be safe. Somebody's going to now control me, use me. Somebody is now going to see me and reject me. Connection always leads to pain. That's what your history has shown you. And so again, you face the double bind that getting healthy triggers all the old protective parts that say, don't go there because it's going to lead to nothing but pain and bad consequences. So again, very practical, helpful. And that is you work and find somebody that is safe and then gradually connect at deeper and deeper levels. So make sure that they understand that this has been a source of great wounding for you, that this is an area that triggers a lot of fear in you, but make sure that you're not the only one sharing, that they're sharing too, that this is a mutual giving and getting to know each other better at safe levels, going to more personal and then more deeper personal levels as they prove to be safe. Then you begin to experience connection. And so this authenticity, this connection, this being visible is a huge part of a healthy life. But complex trauma caused you to have nothing but bad experiences with those fundamental things. And so recovery requires learning those things, but it creates a double bind. A fourth one is the independence versus support. And so it's, I want help, but I'm afraid to ask for help, or I want help, or I can't stand needing anyone, or I feel guilty for needing people. I feel I should be self-sufficient. So again, the history coming out of complex trauma is when a child couldn't trust others to meet their needs, their only way of getting their needs met was to become self-sufficient. Who needs anyone? And they kind of told themselves they didn't need anyone. They could figure everything out. They could take care of themselves. And to a degree they could. But they never allowed anybody in. When they were really struggling, they never shared that with anybody. And another thing that comes out of complex trauma is if a child expressed a need, they were often made to feel like a burden. They were often told that they were too needy, too much. They were selfish. And so needs were seen as bad things. You don't burden others with your problems. You take care of your problems yourself. But now in recovery, they're trying to not be codependent or independent. They're trying to learn this interdependence that I can meet most of my needs, but I need people at times to really meet some of the needs I can't meet myself or to help me learn how to meet needs. There are times of stress when I have to ask for help. There are difficult problems times where my children are sick and I just don't have the resources to handle taking care of them and I need to ask for help. And so you go, okay, I want to be able to ask for help and support, but as soon as I go to do it, I feel bad. I feel like a failure. I feel like I should do this myself. I feel like people are going to see me as too much. People are going to reject me. And it becomes a huge issue for many people in recovery. And so they try to soldier on, beat themselves up for being such a loser, such a failure. And so I think it's so important for many people to begin to realize that there was an indoctrination, gaslighting process that took place in many complex trauma families where having needs was seen as weak and being able to take care of all of your own needs was seen as strength. Part of that was having needs made you vulnerable, and that's the weakness. What I want people to begin to do is reframe that and see that having needs and being vulnerable is human. It's part of what makes mutual relationships meaningful. It's part of what all of us have. It's not a weakness. It's not a vulnerability. It's actually a strength to be able to be open and honest, to be able to express that I have needs to others. And so learning this interdependence is such an important part of recovery, but it creates this double bind. that many people have to work through. The next one is the boundary double bind. And that is, if I say no to you or I set a boundary with you, you might not like me, you might abandon me. And if I don't set a boundary with me, then you're going to use me or abuse me. So boundaries become these very tricky topics for people from complex trauma. So they weren't either allowed as a child to have any boundaries. So people walked all over them, used them, treated them as a slave, didn't give them any privacy. There was an enmeshment in the family. And if they tried to stand up to that, then the parents got mad. The parents told them that they weren't loving. The parents told them that they were unkind, gave them all kinds of negative messages. They got punished. And so they just didn't set boundaries. But now in recovery, they feel often like they've been a doormat all their life. They just don't say no to people. That's part of getting people to like them. And it seems to have had a lot of positive effects, but now they're getting burned out. Their family is saying you give help to everybody else, but you don't have time for your own children. What's going on here? But you're afraid to set a boundary. You know you should, but you're afraid to. Because if you do, then people will think you're mean. People won't like you. People will get angry at you. And so there's a double bind. And this happens to so many people. So again, what do you do with that? It's part of recovery. Begin to realize that love has boundaries. Love has to say no to things that are unhealthy and say yes to things that are healthy. Setting boundaries is going to please, and people who are wanting to be healthy are going to be good with it. It's the people that want you to stay sick that are going to get upset about boundaries. And so your boundaries then is really providing safety for yourself. It's all about getting healthy. It's all about enabling you to connect in healthy ways with healthy people. It only results in rejection from unhealthy people. And so again, when you learn boundaries, learn gradually with safe people. And then as you get better and better at setting and enforcing boundaries, then you're able to do it even with unsafe people. So that's the first 5 of the double binds. Next time we'll get into some more. I hope that really resonates with you and really helps you to go, wow, yeah, that's what I'm facing in recovery. That's what it kind of boils down to. I want to get healthy, but then something seems to be sabotaging it, or there's resistance inside of me to moving forward and implementing healthy tools. This hopefully will make sense, and hopefully some practical advice on helping you get through that double bind that has always felt like you couldn't resolve it. You didn't know how to see your way through to the other side.